Hello guys and gals. So today we are following on from last week's video where we put some chords to a vocal. So now you've got your chord progression. Then what? Let me show you. Let's go. So the idea is I'm going to show you how to get from our basic chords here to something like the final release, which went like this. Now there's a few steps to get there, but the first one is not actually to do with the chords. The easiest thing to do next is actually to make a bass line. And what I thought would be really fun is to show you how well the 164 trick really works. Is we can delete our progression here, and I'm going to roll a dice to give us our chord progression. So a 6-sided dice should do, because I know we have 7 options, but as I said in the last video, the minor scale doesn't really get on with chord 2 that well. So if it rolls a 2, we're going to take that as a 7. So for the other numbers, we'll take the order of our 1, 6, and 4 first, and then any other numbers it rolls will be our in-between chords. Let's jump on Google here. We'll search for roll dice. We got one. Good, right. Okay, so we're looking for the order of our 1, 6, and 4s. Any other numbers will be our in-between chords. Let's go. So we start on 1, 4, 2, that will be a 7. 5 will be our next in between. 6. And 1 again. So it's 1, 4, 6, 1 with in-betweens of 7, 5, and 7. Okay, so 1, 4, 6, 1, and our in-betweens were 7, 5. Well, that works out rather nicely, doesn't it? Now let's decide on a basic rhythm versus the vocal. I think we want to do this. That seems fine. So let's do our chords. Oops. All the white notes. So there's our dice rolled chords. As you saw in the last video, I'm not even going to check whether these work with the rest of the vocal, because we already know they will, won't they? Let's move on to bass. Before we follow the chords, this is actually easier if we choose a rhythm first. Now, one of the best ways to do this is line the bass up next to your melody. In our case, it's vocal, the audio sample. You could do this with MIDI as well if you've got the MIDI. Pick what you think is the grooviest part of the vocal. In my case, I'm going to pick the pre-chorus here. And what we're going to do is try to mimic the main vocal rhythm. We're not even going to move pitch. We're just going to stay on the one note. You can line these up with the waveform, or when you get used to listening to rhythm, you should be able to get this a little faster. That's these. That's the same. That moves there. And that's the last bar. So this is our vocal rhythm on bass. So obviously it works because it matches with the vocal, but it's a little boring in places. And apart from these two middle bars, it's not very consistent. What we want to be aiming for is something that's memorable in itself and also has a consistent groove throughout. We don't want people dancing one way to one bar and dancing another way to the next bar. So let's pick a good section from this and see if we can use it throughout. So obviously this is out because it's just 4 notes on the kick drums. So I think this is our hook because that repeats twice. So I'm going to bring this to the beginning. If you saw my video on melody, we could set up 3 questions and then an answer. So if this is our questions, I'm going to move these. So these are all the same. And then this will be our answer. I think that works. Now we can follow our chord progression. So we were 7, 4, there was 5, 6, 7, and 1, wasn't it? Now we're starting to get somewhere. The only thing I want to do is what's called a turnaround. Basically add some interest to this answer section. I'm just going to choose one of the notes of the chord. Or we could choose both notes of the chord. Okay, we got a bass line. Moving on. I'm going to move my bass back up here now. I think you can guess the next step. We hit copy. So let's come over to our piano part. I'm going to delete these ones. Hit paste. Let's put them on the correct octave. And let's build our chords. Let's correct any of these notes that aren't in the scale, i.e. on the white notes. For this turnaround, I'm just going to keep the chords all on the 1 because the bass notes I used were all from chord 1 anyway. That was the idea. It was just to make the bass more interesting. The chords can stay here. Let's listen to how that sounds. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we have the rhythm and the bass line for our progression. But we're not done yet. In our next video, I'm going to show you, now we've got our rhythm, how we take our basic triad chords here into a full arrangement. And then we'll finish it off. So, go roll some dice, get some chords, experiment with some bass rhythms. And most importantly, hit like if you liked it, or sub if you loved it. Leave me a comment if you've got any questions, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.